Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions, and thank you again so much for our time together. Please forgive the late post, but we've had a few issues with sound. This is actually my fourth time to tape today, and we're having to do things a little patch. I want you to come with me back to the book of Daniel chapter 1 today for a little thought I call brain drain. In Daniel chapter 1, beginning with verse 3, "Then the king ordered Ashpenaz, chief of his court officials, to bring some of the Israelites from the royal family and the nobility, young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well-informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. He was to teach them the language, the literature of the Babylonians. The king assigned them a daily amount of food and wine from the king's table, and they were to be trained for 3 years, and after that they were to enter the king's service." One of the most common things to occur when a kingdom would conquer another kingdom in the ancient world was to take all the nobility out of the land. Now, they not only took the nobility out of the land, that keeps it weak, they actually took the future from Israel. They took the nobility of the young. They took young people who from the time of birth had been trained to lead. Young people who from the time of birth have been educated. Remember, the Bible speaks in the book of Proverbs about a pauper who becomes a king. Because in the ancient kingdoms, from the time you were born in nobility, you were taught to lead, you were taught to govern, you were taught how to care for people, you were taught how to prioritize the people, you were taught to serve the people. So what Babylon did here is actually take the future away from Israel, take all the future leaders away from the people of Israel. Now let me apply that a little bit. For 35 years, I've taught you that we should not participate in overseas workers programs. I've taught you that as Christians, husbands and wives should live together. I've taught you that as Christians, we must keep our families together. But more than that, in just a few weeks, I'll be teaching you out of Acts 17 for how many times I've taught you this, that God chose the exact time and places for us to be born so that we would seek Him. God chose the exact day for you to be born. God chose the exact island for you to be born on, the exact nation for you to be born on, so that you and I would reach out and seek God. He put us in a place that was most conducive to our seeking Him. Now, I would like to challenge you today. Some of you, you're very clever. You've got your master's degrees, you've got your doctorate degrees, and you think, well, you know, I'm going to go and I'm going to build buildings in the Middle East. I'm going to go to London and work in the financial institutions. I'm going to go to the U.S. I'm going to go to Canada. I'm going to go to Australia. And you think, you know, I have the education. I have the ability. I want to give my family a better life. Well, I can understand that. But maybe a little less selfish thing would be to believe that God could give you a better life right here. And as you become the heads of multinationals, as you become the head of corporations, as you use your entrepreneurial skills to build great businesses here, you will be a blessing to the whole nation. You will build a future for our people right here in the Philippines. Now, I'd like to challenge those of you who are among the best and the brightest. Rather than look to building a future overseas where you will just be one of many, why not be the shining star that God meant you to be right here in our own land? Why not be the great leader that God meant you to be right here in our own land? Let's stop the brain drain. In fact, if anything, those of you that are watching me in Norway and Australia and Singapore and Hong Kong and Canada and America and New Zealand, I would like to challenge our best and brightest. Why don't you bring your skills back home and your families and build the nation God gave you in Jesus' name?